Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes. Welcome to my channel. So this vlog is going a little more into detail into my depth year. So for those who don't know, there's a depth year, I guess you could call it a movement, within the tarot community, the spiritual community, and the witchy community, committing 2019 to a depth year. And what a lot of people are focusing on is not buying things and not buying stuff. But a lot of us, we have goals and plans that we really want to focus on and accomplish. So it's really, the depth here is really about focusing on what we have, physical things and ideas and plans and creative projects, and staying, I guess, in line with those focuses, instead of buying more stuff or getting distracted by this and doing that. And nobody's going to be perfect, but it's sort of like a commitment to ourselves to, I really want to accomplish this goal. I want to create this project. I want to read the books I have. I want to explore the tarot decks and oracle decks I have already and get to know them further and deeper. And if those of you who watched my first depth year video, and I'll link it on screen here towards the end of this video, I call this more my going deeper year, because I tend to be very deep, deeply spiritual, deeply psychological. I want to always dig down and understand things, research things, really get in there, whether it's researching in books, researching online, or even researching intuitively or psychically. I'm always learning and trying to understand things deeply. So I'm calling it really, my depth year is my going even deeper year, which I think most years tend to get that way anyway. And for those who are, for the other astrology geeks out there like me, just to give you an idea of what deep is to me, like my moon is in Pisces, Neptune in the North Node are in my 12th house, and my sun is in the 8th house. My ascendant ruler is conjoined my moon in Pisces. So I like to swim the deep ocean waters as much as possible, likely all the time. Even when I'm on the surface, I'm kind of often in both places at once, or I integrate the two. So details for my depth year, my going even deeper depth year of 2019, my writing projects. So for those who are interested, what I really want to focus on, and these are projects that I've worked a lot of in the past, a little bit in the past, or yeah, I've worked on them to some degree in the past. First of all, I think what my #1 writing focus is right now is my book on schizophrenia. And I worked on this quite a bit in the past. I have a huge stack of notes and research I've done in the past. And it's actually really a book about my sister, who is a schizophrenic. I had to put it on the shelf for a while because of issues with my sister. But now it's like I feel like I have permission, and I don't know who that's from. It might be from myself. It might be from my sister. I'm just feeling like, okay, now it's okay to write this book. So that one I have everything ready to just put together. I actually started the book several years ago. Let's see, that was probably 2012, 2013. And I have a chunk of it, but I'm going to rewrite all of that too. I'm in the process of that right now. My second book is a story about my own story, a book about my own story. I guess you could call it a memoir, but I always feel funny saying that. That I'm ready to write as well. And you could say that's been in the works my whole life, but I've actually sat down to work on it here and there. And I always got this feeling like something needed to complete, something needed to be done. Not that my life process is done or my own healing is done, but it's like I needed to get to the end of a certain cycle to be ready to write it. It's like there was more information that had not yet occurred, that had not yet come to my awareness within myself or occurred out in the physical life. So that is another book project I have coming. The third one, and I've mentioned this in some of my new moon and full moon videos, the Vedic ones, is to rewrite my Vedic astrology for beginners. So it's Shedding Light on Jyotisha, Vedic Astrology for Beginners, and I'll link that below if you're interested. So I have self-published that, I think in 2014, somewhere around there. But I want to make an expanded version. And I wanted to create a beginner's Vedic astrology book for people coming from the Western perspective and for people who are brand new to astrology who chose to study Vedic first, which can get really complicated with all the myths and all the Sanskrit terms and stuff. So I wanted to make something simple but clear and lay out all the basics. So it's, Shedding Light on Jyotisha, Vedic Astrology for Beginners. So it's beginners, the basics. But I want to make an expanded version of it and go into a little bit more detail without it being overwhelming again for beginners, and do some sample charts, which I didn't include because my thought when I wrote it was that people would use that to help to read their own birth charts, but sample charts would help as well. So that's my third one. So that's a book that's done that I'm going to rewrite, and not totally rewrite, but expand upon it and add things in. But if you're interested in the copy that's out there now, again, the link is below in the description box. And then I have a fourth writing project. I know this is a lot. I don't know if I'll get to this one this year. I was working on it this past year, 2018, and I kind of got stuck. Not quite writer's block, but I was like, I'm not sure where I want to take the story now. So I kind of set it down, and that's my second children's fairy tale. So I already have one out there called The March of the Toy Makers, and it's a holiday fairy tale. I did make a video on it, so I'll link that on screen here as well if you're interested. It's a really cute middle grade, well, I would say 5 years and up, even adults might be interested. But it incorporates a lot of little bits of astrology and gemology and this and that to kind of introduce it to children, as well as, there's elves and fairies and goblins and the ogre and the bugbear. So it's not terribly scary, but that's the one I already have out there. The second children's fairy tale I'm working on does connect to the first one. There's a little character reference and crossover. My idea is that there may be a series of children's fairy tales, but we'll see how that plays out as time goes on. So those are my writing projects, my priority writing projects. And then, of course, I'm still working on my Fine Lines online guided meditation course, and that I'm hoping to have done soon. I've had computer issues, so I actually have a new computer ready to set up. I'm recording this on my old one, which has been a lot of trouble lately, so it's made making videos a little frustrating. But once that's up and running, I'm going to transfer everything to that computer so I can get back to recording that without camera dropping and all sorts of other problems going on. And then I also, when I rewrite my Shedding Light on Jyotisha, Vedic Astrology for Beginners, I want to create an online course for it as well. I don't know if I'll get to that this year of 2019, but it's on the list. It's out there. Okay. That's the courses that I'm working on. Of course, I have my Exploring the Symbolic Language of the Tarot course already up and out there, and that's below in the description box as well if you're interested. But that's all I have on my courses list for now. I'm sure there'll be more. Eventually, I think I'm going to create an online course for my butterfly journal, but we'll see. We'll see what I get to. So those are all very deep projects, especially the book on schizophrenia and the book about my journey. Those are really diving deep into the psyche, into psychology, into the spirituality, because there's definitely a lot of spiritual stuff, I'll say, connected to my sister and her schizophrenia, and that has to do with our family, our ancestry. There's a lot there. That's what I'll say right now, but yeah, I'll let you know when the book is available. And then, of course, there's the stuff. I do want to dive deeper into the tarot decks I have, journey with them, path work with them, exploring archetypes much deeper with them. Shadow work, of course, for myself, or just understanding the process, working with clients who want to look into shadow work and archetypes and stuff. So I'm looking forward to diving deeper into the decks and the oracle decks. Some oracle decks can be quite powerful in that way. I do have some decks that I'm waiting for that are on order, or that I just ordered towards the end of the year that have been on my list for a while. Not that I needed to stock up at all, but there's definitely some key decks I wanted, and there's a few decks I'm waiting to be released, so I will probably purchase a few more decks throughout the year, but I want to rein in on that quite a bit so I can focus on the decks I have and work with them very deeply for myself. They actually are helpful with my writing process as well. And for helping clients, of course. And then books, and I mentioned this in my other depth year video, is I have quite a few books that I have not yet read that I want to read. Some I want to reread, and some I've used for reference that I want to read cover to cover. So I have a lot. I know it sounds like a lot on my plate, creatively and in-depth research and exploration for the year ahead, but that's my diving deeper year. But then I also want to talk about stuff a little bit more. Like, I'm always someone who's like, oh, we don't use this, let's give it away. And I can't tell you how many times we've done donation runs in the past little over a year since the baby was born, and she's growing so fast. She's like even off the charts in height. So we're going through things really fast. And that's not something I'll ever stop. So it's like giving away, in a way, recycling stuff that other people can use, other people need. And we don't buy a whole lot, but I'm always feeling like, okay, do we need, where can we like not spend so much? Where can we not buy so much? How can we utilize what we have better? So I want to take that, I don't know what the word is here. More focused, more, not really like pulling in the reins, because there's not like excess spending to pull in the reins on, but just be even more specific about what we buy. Do we need to buy this? Do we need to buy that? And usually, if I buy anything, especially like clothes, I put together a pile of donation clothes. So there's always like a cycle going through. Things don't usually build up. And luckily, my baby's the only grandchild on both sides of the family with lots of aunts and uncles. So we actually don't have to buy a whole lot of stuff for her. Most of the stuff we donate have been gifts. So that actually helps us from buying and consuming and spending, and because that can, oh, this cute little outfit, oh, these cute shoes, that can get a little bit out of hand. So yeah, just a little bit more disciplined, the Saturnine energy, right? More disciplined and focused, I guess, on, do we need to spend money on this or that? Do I need that tarot deck because it looks cool? Do we need to buy this? We actually don't really buy toys for the babies because she gets so many. But do we need to spend money on this? And I actually want to cut back on eating out or taking food out, which kind of got into the habit, having a baby and then just being injured and in so much pain for so long. I mean, I was cooking, and actually when I was pregnant, I could not cook. Food was really difficult to be around. I just didn't feel like eating, so I had to sort of force feed and track everything to make sure I got enough nutrients in. So I've been slowly getting back into the habit of making all my food. But my husband's used to getting lunch out when he's at work, so we're going to start packing his lunch and cutting back on the food overconsumption. That sounds funny. The prepared food consumption. There we go. Because there's all that packaging, and I'm always surprised at how quickly we fill up the recycling from food things. And it's not like it's every day and all the time, but it's more than what I would like it to be. So that's how I want to kind of cut down on stuff in this depth year as well. I didn't think that would come up, but here we are. So those are more my depth year plan details because people have asked. And yeah, are you participating in this depth year? Let me know what your goals are, what your plans are. There is a Facebook page for the people participating in the depth year, and I'll try to remember to grab that link and put it below in the description box as well if you're interested in joining in and participating. There is a group of writers there who really want to focus on their writing and people reading books. Then, of course, people, their tarot cards, people who just don't want to consume so much because they need to rein that in. Yeah, so I'll link that below as well. So I hope you found this video vlog interesting. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing, and I'll see you back here soon.